morning. Welcome to our Grow Your Commercial Book of Business with CID Insurance. My name is Anae Agostini. I'm the CEO of CID Insurance Programs, and I'm going to be your instructor or your orientator of CID Insurance today. So let's get going. So standard webinar logistics is that you all will be muted because there's too many of you to be trying to talk, and so you'll be able to hear but not speak. But I really like questions, so if you would type any questions that you have in the chat room, I'll take time as they come in to answer the question so that we've addressed any questions that you have throughout. And then at the end, there'll be a short survey with a pop-up after the webinar. And so we'd really like to get your feedback as well about how we're doing. So let's talk about our objectives for this webinar. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are and how we work, what's our product appetite, and then I'm going to go into talking a little bit about how to grow. I want to talk about how you grow your book of business with us and how we can help you. But then I also want to go into a little bit of the whole process of new business versus renewals and some pointers that will help you maybe set up your systems within your agency and that will help you be more efficient and grow your book as well. So, and then last, I'll share some tools that you can find on our website. Okay, so through CID Insurance, we strictly specialize in commercial insurance products, and it's really designed for business clients of independent and captive insurance brokers, which I'm going to assume that's who I'm talking to right now. And we are a smaller wholesaler, but we are so we probably have less appointments with carriers, but we know our carriers really well, so our placement is really strong. And so we can do that preferred. We could go preferred risks if you don't have a lot of markets. So we have preferred markets, and then we can move into that hard to place and place the things that would not be in your standard markets. You can see that we have a fair range of states that we write in, and 14 states, mostly West Coast, but we've got a few oddballs like we do a lot of business in Tennessee and Texas. So let's keep going. So here's one of the things that we can help you with CID. One of the things as a small wholesaler, I do what you do, which is, retail commercial insurance. And when I went into the wholesale world, I found that I knew everything that I was not happy with, that I wanted to change and be able to deliver. And that's fast and easy quote options with competitive premiums. I want an underwriter underwriters that are knowledgeable, experienced, and most importantly, responsive. They pick up the phone, they answer their email, all in a very timely manner, and we'll talk straight to you, answer your questions as to let you know whether you can move, to submit something, because that's where all the hang-up comes in. And then sometimes when the submission does come in, it sits on someone's desk in a stack, and you don't hear back, or one or two quotes trickle in, and you have no idea whether you've got the right quote or not. So that's sort of our placement is really strong, and we can set you up with a quote that's going to be the most competitive and let you know that. We also provide customizable marketing material, it's by class of business and by coverage, and so that will be something that could be helpful to you in your marketing process and cross-sell on your renewals. we've got a lucrative commission structure. It ranges from 10 to 15% commission, and that's by, it's by carrier, it's by coverage, by class of business, and then we offer a lot of, you're on one of our webinars right now, so we're big on education, so that we've got our website is full of webinars that have been recorded that you can watch over and over again, and then you can see what new webinars are coming up. We've got educational videos, and then we always offer the option, I will do office training. Right now it's going to be all over, it's going to be in a like a GoToMeeting or type platform until we get beyond this COVID-19 situation, which looks like we're moving through it pretty fast now. And so last not is one of the things is we focus on renewal retention and new business production. So and for us, that's about PIF growth. So that's one of the things we do that so that we will support you in doing the same thing. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm breaking this up by underwriter, and you'll see Sienna Vasquez is our professional liability underwriter. She does a great job for us, and we've got there's very little that we can't write, but we really you've got a list here of a lot of the things that we get submissions on a very regular basis, and we're there to quote all of that business for you. I love professional liability because it is a stable insurance. It's a stable business that typically is very professional, and it stays on the books longer. They don't usually run around shopping it for price all the time. They're more interested in making sure that they're insured properly. So this is a good one to consider. And you can see that there's many classes of business on here that we can help you with. So, also, we have commercial and garage top products, and that is Teresa Cochran, and so she specializes in, you could see the things here are really her specialties. Garage is, we write a lot of garage. So we can write anywhere from the preferred risk. And by the way, any of new ventures, and right now carriers are considering companies that have had to close up, and they're considering them new not necessarily new in business, but they're accepting those with back in without being a new venture with a lot of our carriers. So there's a lot of flexibility to get insurance policies back in place for the businesses that have let it go and then are now trying to get a new policy. So please, know that there's flexibility with carriers. We also know that there's a lot of flexibility with non-payment of premium and policies are not canceling. Just for your information, carriers are now sending out those non-payment notices, and so policies are being set up to cancel, but the carriers are very flexible. So if the insured can call on direct bill policies, calls the insurance company direct, they can get flexibility there, and they will actually help on a case-by-case basis for those that are still impacted. So back to Teresa's products. So we could do preferred auto risk, and then as you could see, here's a list of what I would call, in many ways, non-preferred auto risk. So, but she's got lots of markets, and so she can really do a good job for you there. We do a garage webinar, and I think we have, I can't remember what date we have one, but you'll have to check the website to see when we have a garage webinar. I think we might have one coming up in the next couple months. Manufacturers, we do a lot of contractors, and we could do your general contractors, which and then a wide variety because there's so many different types of contractors. So no worries. Builder's risk and vacant buildings is a good one. And then any kind of distributor or wholesaler. We have some ability to write some of the cannabis. You can see what's there. And retail merchants. This is an interesting one. We do a great job. We've got preferred BOP carrier for convenience stores and liquor stores and gas stations, and they're very competitively priced, so that's interesting. So, by the way, Jacob just reminded me that the auto repair and sales webinar is on June 23rd, so that would be a good one to take a look at and sign up for. So we will be sending out invites for that, so you can sign up at that time. And again, we have all kinds of restaurants, which, you're going to see some of these restaurants that drop their policy, that we're seeing a lot of it coming back, where they're actually now coming back and to get a new policy in place as they start to open up. Okay, and then there's Michelle Belden. She does a lot of commercial and nonprofit. And so really the area that we excel at, and we write a lot of apartments and a lot of commercial buildings, your lesser's risk, and a fair amount of community associations as well. So Michelle is a specialist in this. She does a great job, and we can handle apartments of all kinds. There's very little that we can't write for you. The only problem that we do find is that, if you've got a landlord who's, not maintaining the building and letting it run down, that's probably the upgrades. You have to have some upgrades to meet a minimum standard in order for carriers to be willing to write a risk, because it's just too problematic with losses. And we all know that's habitational can be a high exposure area on the property side, and a lot of carriers have pulled back, but we've got a lot of markets. I would stay away from hotel and motel for right now. It's gonna start to come back, but most of the carriers have pulled back away from wanting to write right now, and you'll see it open up over time. But right now, there's not a lot of markets for your hotel motel risk, so I wouldn't be marketing that area. Nonprofits, there's still a lot of nonprofits that are in business, and a lot of them are, your social services type food banks, those that are really there to, meet the needs of the community. And most, I'm involved in a number of nonprofits personally, and, they're all maintaining their insurance because that's the responsible thing to do. They've got a sort of a base structure budget of things that are mandatory, and one of those being insurance. You've got your concessionaires, vendors, special events. We've got a phone and web quote program, and it's with USLI, and I know there's a lot of programs out there, but we pay 12.5% to 15% on the web and phone quote. I prefer the phone quote, and you can find access to that on our website. And your smaller policies like these concessionaires and vendors, your special events, you can even quote small nonprofits on it. It's pretty easy. You can even quote community associations on it. So there's a lot of that, and it's really great because there's no application required, and it makes it really easy for you to be able to get a quote quickly without a lot of information. It's a very small amount of information by class of business that's needed, and so I think that's a pretty great way to go. So that is Michelle, and then last but not least, we have Lexi Goldspring. She does nothing but work comp, and she's good at it. So large or small, she can write it for you. She's very efficient and gets her quotes out in a timely manner. there's just the key for these for workers' comp is when you, during this submission, you want to make sure that you've done a very good description of the business and what they do, and we need the FEIN number, the FIN number, in order to even entertain a quote. Unfortunately, the carriers all require it, and there's no exceptions to that anymore. So just make sure that you're getting the basics down, and then verifying that you've got the employee's payroll classified in the right classification codes. That's the greatest way. But you could see she could write a wide variety of things, and so please, I encourage you to not forget about the work comp, because whoever, you may have the commercial package, whoever's got the work comp is going to be coming after your commercial package, and vice versa. So you should be always trying to have all of the policies and not have another broker involved. So let's move on and start talking a little bit more about what coverages your commercial clients need. So this is something that I see a lot, and I know it's because as agency principals or employees at an agency, you got your hands full with a lot of things at once. But it's really important to develop systems where when you work your renewals or your new business, that you're actually going after all of the insurance that the commercial client would need, and ensuring that you have an opportunity to quote it at the new business level, or that each renewal that you're actually talking about, those coverages that need to be that they need to be told about, because you've got an E&O exposure as an agency for the coverage. You're going to have, it's always where you have a loss where they don't have the coverage, and that's going to be an E&O claim, because it's going to be on you, because if they have a loss that causes damages, they're going to be coming back against the agency E&O. So you can see we've got a wide variety here of things, and over the years they've just sort of bifurcated all these coverages into standalone policies, and so you have to make sure that you're offering those quotes. We can provide you with all quotes on all of these types of coverages, so that you make sure that you're doing your job. So let's talk about the renewal process. Couple things. If you're a farmer's agent, you're so dependent on farmers, and their little, the computer that you work on, right? And they do everything for you. So when you have an outside book, you need to make sure that you set up systems for that. Same thing if you're an independent. You have to make sure that you set up systems, because your agency management system isn't going to do everything for you. It's not. The one thing it may do is create an expiration report for you, and you want to track your renewals by an expiration report, confirming each policy is issued and paid. So you want it by you want it by date, expiration date, and you want to do these by month, so that you're working on a month at a time, and at any time you might have 3 or 4 months going, because you're working up to we use a 60-30-10 system, and at 60 days we reach out, 30 days we get the quote out there, 10 days we do a reminder. So that gives you an idea of how to set up a system. And we have template letters that we go that are already standardized, and we can customize a little bit in our email, but that will be sent out. And the key is to monitor that expiration report to make sure that you renewed the policy, right? And then the most important thing is that make sure the policy was issued and that the commissions were paid. That's important to all of us, right? We need to get our money, make sure that we were paid for that renewed policy. So that's the most important, to have a system like that. That's the basics. And if you're a farmer's agent, you can create an Excel spreadsheet It takes a little time, but you can start dumping that information into an Excel spreadsheet and then break it up by, have tabs at the bottom that are by month. So it's really important to do that part. And then you want to treat every renewal like it's new business. You want to send a written proposal. You want to be reaching out to them to make sure that they're happy with, your service, that, and that you're presenting a competitive renewal, and that you're going to be, and then if you're working with us, we're always going to be looking at other carriers, every other possible carrier that we can go out and get a competitive bid from, so that we can make sure that you can tell your insured that we've gone out to more than one carrier, and here's what we found, and here's what we recommend. So that these are all the things that keep your insureds glued to you, so that they're not being steered away by another broker. And then it's really important to monitor your renewal retention and lapse ratios. So basically, you want to make sure that your lapse ratio is not more than 10 to 15%. That really varies by class of business. Some are more harder to keep than others. Some shop more often, but you want to be measuring that, and that's really saying, I lost this much premium, right? I didn't renew this month, this much premium, and I'm going to divide that by the total premium of my renewals for the month, and that's going to give you what that lapse ratio. That's actually probably going to give you the reverse, but that will give you the lapse ratio for sure. And then the other side of it, equally in 100%, will give you what you did end up retaining. And again, perfect time at renewals to cross-sell that other insurance coverages that you might be weak on, or your competition might come take your policy because they've got it. They've got the other insurance. And then asking for referrals is a really important way. We get a lot of our business by referrals. And I'm grateful for that, because it means we're doing a good job, and the brokers that work with us are referring us. And so it's a great time to ask for a referral, is at the renewal. And then my philosophy is you have to treat both new business production and renewal retention equally, 50-50. Because if you're not paying equal attention to both of them, then you're not going to grow and you're not going to be profitable as an agency. Okay, let's continue. All right. So how do we retain your commercial renewals? Well, we've been talking about cross-selling. Well, the retention of it really, commercial clients depends on the PIF count per insured. So I think many of us may know this, some of us don't even stop to think about it, is that you have stronger retention when you have more than one policy with an insured. And that's just a fact. And so that cross-selling takes on a whole new importance, because it creates more stability with retaining that insured. And then the more PIF per insured, it's going to be easier to retain it. So basically, you need to know what coverages your clients need. So, because in general, if you've got employees, you're going to be looking at EPL, you're going to be looking at workers' comp, but when you get into directors and officers, you get into what do I want to say? Cyber liability. You're going to be needing to look at what their existing exposures are, and whether they, truly need that coverage. Doesn't mean you're not going to recommend it, but you want to be able to talk to the insured about what they see their exposure as being. And then know who controls the other insurance, as I've said, because that's who is going to take your business away from you. So you've got to be trying to get that business from them. And then cross-sell the other insurance at the time of renewal, which I've mentioned already. And then you want to start your renewal process 60 days prior, and then plan to have your quote out there, your proposal to the insured out 30 days prior, and then do a follow-up at 10 days. And I'm a big proponent for formal insurance proposals, and I'm going to show you one on our next slide, because that you touch commercial renewals once a year, take good care of them, then they're going to remember you. And not all of your insureds, commercial insureds, are going to be like personal lines where they're constantly needing service. They're not. Most of your commercial renewals you won't even talk to throughout the year. But so you just have to make sure you take care of them professionally at the renewal. So here's an example of a proposal template that we have on, and we have them under resources, under insurance templates. And we've broken them up by, like, here's an example of a workers' comp template. And these are Word documents. You can put your letterhead on them. And the red area is designed to be a template. You fill in that area, and then the rest of it is sort of a generic template that doesn't change because the information is the same for every insured. So this is just an idea. We have these on our website. So because I know it's hard to create insurance proposal templates for every type of business. So we've got a number of them on our website, and we can make, if you don't see what you need, please reach out to us, and we will make sure that we can create one for you. And our website, by the way, I think it's going to be this afternoon that we're actually launching our new website. And it's really going to be as easy to use as the old one. We just sort of gave it a facelift, and put some new photos of all of us on there so that you'll get to see our whole team and our office. And so that, look for that. Jacob will send out an announcement. And then, of course, on our website, you're going to find applications, those marketing flyers I talked about, broker of record templates, broker fee agreement templates, claims templates, and certificates, notice. And then we've got risk profiles on the risk profile templates on the website as well. And those are great we've got one for apartments, lesser's risk, and community associations. There's a lot of information needed for both GL and property on those types, those classes of business, and those risk profile templates really help for you to gather the information from the insured and then be able to transfer it onto the necessary applications. So please visit our website. It's a great source of information. People always tell us they love how easy it is to use and the resources that we have available. So I want to thank you for joining us. I didn't see any other questions, so you could still email any questions that you might have. And we look forward to doing business with you. And make sure that you reach out and view our new website and check out all of our educational tools and marketing materials and our applications. Thank you for joining us.